Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, 320 Sim Pilot. It's been a while, I am still here and I have an exciting video for you today. This is the announcement trailer for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This is a big moment in the world of flight simulation. We don't get new simulators very often, so I thought it was worth putting a little video together. I thought I'd react to this trailer. There's lots of little bits of information and interesting things to see in it, so I thought we'd go through the trailer, talk about some of the news that came out overnight after this trailer came out, and then we can have a little chat about it. I'll share my thoughts and I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts as well. I am a real-world airline pilot, so I'll try to give you a bit of perspective from what I think from my role as a real-world airline pilot. But like I say, it's a short trailer, it's early days, and we've still got a lot of questions to ask. But a few questions have been answered overnight, which we'll talk about as we go through. So let's get started then on this trailer. So yeah, Xbox, they are proud it's on Xbox, and I can understand why it opens up the platform to a lot of people who don't have expensive gaming computers. And yeah, it's I think a good thing. So here we go, next generation of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and pursue your dream of a career in aviation. So two things there. Next generation, it does sound like it's going to be a new sim, and they have confirmed it is a standalone separate simulator. It does not appear to be an expansion or an update to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It's got a new name, because Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 was never called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We all called it that, and I'm not entirely sure why. I suppose because traditionally the Microsoft Flight Simulator family has had the year in the title. We've had 95, 98, 2000, 2002, 2004, and then we had FSX, which was the 10th edition, so that was why it was X. But it's quite common. So we attached 2020, but actually it was officially called Microsoft Flight Simulator as a sort of relaunch. So this one's called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. It makes sense that it's a standalone new simulator, and they've, I think, made that clear with saying next generation. We've also got this phrase, pursue your dream of a career in aviation. This is the first thing they've come out the gate saying. So it seems clear to me that they're focused on the missions and things you can do in the sim, with giving you a bit of focus to why you would be flying aircraft in the simulator, which I like. And of course, I have pursued a real life career in aviation, so it's interesting to me to see this and to see the different paths. So I think it's a good premise. It's nice to have direction in Flight Simulator. That's why virtual airlines are so popular. So that first little sequence there, I really like it. It looks spectacular. I mean, Flight Simulator always looks spectacular. Now, how different this is to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, as we call it, I don't know. I mean, the sim already looks amazing in the current state. But yeah, I saw this, and when I initially saw this, I actually thought it was a volcano. But no, I think it's meant to be a wildfire. But I would love to see volcano eruptions added into the sim as a side note. But there we go. So wildfire effects, smoke going up into the atmosphere, and you would be surprised how visible smoke is. You can have small fires that are just in the back garden, and if the smoke is big enough, it can spread out like that, and you can see it from miles away as you approach a city. Any small fire and a big wildfire like that, yeah, it does produce huge blots on the landscape, as you can tell, and I'm sure you could see from any of these high-rise buildings. But there we go. So that's an interesting one. I like the idea of it. Volumetric sort of clouds looking like it there as they sort of spread up into the atmosphere, the sun. I mean, we know Microsoft Flight Simulator can do clouds, so that's good to see, and a bit of an interesting one. And then we can see the actual fire effects on the ground. Now, we have had some missions and third-party apps that can bring the firefighting sort of role into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, but it's interesting to see it natively supported here or even included in missions, and could be a good bit of fun. So the Canadair CL215 here, an absolutely iconic aircraft used for firefighting around the world. It'll be a very manual sort of aircraft to fly. I think it would be great fun. And we've seen good work from Microsoft Flight Simulator on these propeller, sort of heavier propeller aircraft. So I think it could be really nice to try out. Yeah, some of the recent releases they made as payware add-ons to Microsoft Flight Simulator, such as the Caribou, I really enjoyed. So I'll be looking forward to trying this out. And I love anything that uses floats or goes on the water, because it's a great part of simulation and a part of aviation. A lot of us, even if you get into flying, you don't often get the chance to fly aircraft off water. It's quite a small part of aviation, although a fantastic one. So it's good fun to relive it in Flight Simulator. So pleased to see a new airplane like that coming out. And yeah, fantastic scenery and weather effects. And look at that. I really like the water spraying. Now, this is an exciting idea. Look at that screenshot. Just stunning. As you would expect, it looks as fantastic as ever. I would like to see the aircraft more grubby, but I always say that. I think they should always be looking like they're working hard, especially a practical aircraft like this. Water dumping, great fun. It should be a great mission if we can get some missions like that in there. Really excited to try that out. Also, I like the effects, the water spraying down. It looks realistic. We've all seen the YouTube videos. I would be curious to know if they've simulated the weight changes, because that's obviously a big part of flying aircraft like this. In aircraft, we take into account the weight every time you go flying, whether it's in a Cessna 152 or an Airbus A320 or an A380. You're going to know the weight of the aircraft before you take off, because it affects everything: the balance, the center of gravity, the performance, the handling, the minimum speed you can fly at. All of these things are affected by the weight. And in a firefighting aircraft like this, which is an unusual airplane in the sense that it goes from very heavy to very light very quickly, and there's not many that do things like that, but it's an interesting part of the flying, and I would love to know more about it. So I hope we get some detail on that from the missions, perhaps, or maybe they can talk about it. As a side note, the missions back in Microsoft Flight Simulator X had great voiceovers, and they provided a real background to it. There was an airliner mission where there would be some chat, and you would hear the captain and FO talking, and I thought that was nice. So I hope we get some of that sort of stuff in these missions. I think that would be really nice. There you go. That does the great fun and spectacular. And then we get to the next bit, which is and there's quite a heavy helicopter focus in this trailer, doing these missions in the mountainside or the countryside here. So this is looking like it's going to be a big part of the missions. After all, helicopters do take on some of the most interesting parts of aviation when it comes to their different missions. So you've got rescuing people, search and rescue. Could be fun, although searching in Flight Simulator, a famously difficult task, because of course Flight Simulator has such big maps, or it has the whole world. So yeah, I remember missions before that involved searching could be quite a process, but that's part of it. Real search and rescue takes time, and of course a lot of us don't load up Flight Simulator in a rush. We usually load it up with a bit of time. It takes time to do things, so perhaps that's the right sort of mission. And oil rigs, fantastic to see, straight out of Flight Simulator X. So I really like the look of this. Fantastically detailed oil rig again. So yeah, there we go. And we've got the sea here looking very nice. I don't know if that's an improvement over Flight Simulator 2020, but it looks a bit better to me, but we shall see. And then I like the physics on the cargo underneath. Of course, we have helicopters and add-ons in Flight Simulator 2020 that can do that, but it's nice to see it arrive in a native support. Love that livery, by the way. Really nice. But yeah, this looks exciting, doesn't it? Over the sea, rough seas, going from oil rigs to ships. Hard, though. That's going to be tricky to fly. And here we are on an airport now. This is my sort of scenery. We've got all the A320s. Now, are these NEO aircraft or are they CEO aircraft? That's the question. Because you can see here we have an A330. Now, that is an old 330, even though it has the goggles. And then we have what looks like the 747-8. So is this an A320 NEO as we know and love? It looks like it is. But yeah, there we go. And Cessna Caravan, a beloved favourite of these sorts of missions, medevac, air ambulance flights, always good fun, and something that you can do all over the world. They are used in lots of remote places. Next we get the Air Tractor. Great aircraft, great fun, nice and slow, but you can get some really fun flying out of it, and that is the problem of air tractoring, isn't it? Reaching the end of the field, you're trying to get the crop dusting as close to the edge as possible, and then you've got to climb out. Look at that. Spectacular scenery. Grass being waved around, hopefully by the propeller blades of the helicopter. Should be good, and to have some real people modelled in the sim, hopefully with a bit more dynamic walking around as we've seen before from some of the ground crew. Yeah, this could be really exciting. And again, the scenery always looking top notch, isn't it? Skydiving now. Now this looks great fun, beautiful scenery. I mean, skydiving is quite a thing, and it's another interesting part of aviation. It's something people start out, it's often a first sort of job or an early job in aviation is to go skydiving. And yeah, look at that, diving down. I don't know how close you'd want to fly next to your skydivers. I don't know how easy it would be to spot them like this, but still could be an exciting mission. Now here we have an interesting aircraft, the Sky Crane. This is the Sikorsky S-64 Sky Crane. So lots and lots of things they could do with this. Really, really nice aircraft, and another interesting one to see brought into the sim. And now, fantastic. Anyone who watches my channel will know that I am very excited about this. I'm from the airline world, so I love airliners, of course, and this is the Beluga. The Beluga has been one of my favorite add-ons it was originally, I used the Ini Builds one in X Plane, and here we have the Beluga A330XL. So this is the next version, and it's been brought clearly into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I am very excited about this. I would love the chance to fly this, and I'm very excited to try it out. I hope we get the same level of detail as we've had with the Beluga before, the original Beluga. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I love the look of it. It's a monster of an airplane, absolutely huge. And yeah, now question here, why is it's a bit keen to walk across the apron wearing your headset. I've never seen anyone do that, but there we go. Over they go, headset prepared, ready to jump on board. But yeah, the ground crew would, to be fair, wear their headsets because, of course, they plug into the aircraft to talk to you. But yeah, the pilot strolls out without a high-vis jet vest, so that's already unusual. And then also to have a headset on, great. But yeah, fantastic. What a machine. Look at it, absolutely gorgeous. A unique design. The nose of the aircraft is based on A330, and then the nose droops down underneath the cargo hold like that, and you have the flight deck down here. Fantastic. Looking forward to flying that. Nice to see some heavy aircraft arriving, continuing to arrive. And now, what a surprise this was to me. The A400. We don't have many default military aircraft in the sim. We have the F-18, of course, but to get a cargo transport like this is unusual, and this is a amazing aircraft. The A400 is incredibly modern, advanced, and incredibly powerful. It might not look like much, having just 4 turboprop engines is standard like the Hercules had before it, but this is going to be a really interesting machine. The A400 has a HUD and all sorts, so I'm excited to try it out. I think it'll be good fun. And to go and land it in Antarctica, again, excellent detail on all this scenery around here, snow on the side of the containers, I like it. And they said in-engine, look at that spray. This really does excite me. What an interesting machine. What a fantastic utility. The A400 is designed to do things that normal aircraft can't, so it's going to be really exciting to try. Incidentally, an A400 is one of the noisiest airplanes. They fly over me where I live, and you can hear them in the cruise. You can hear the drone of the turboprop, and you can look up and see the 4 contrails from them as they go overhead. There it is. And here we go. Really got Diamond 42 VIP charter service. Again, wearing the headset. Not going to be perhaps not the most polite way to greet your VIP guests, but there you go. Red carpet laid out. I like this. Good fun. And again, a good chance to fly you around some of their better sceneries you can see here and head over to some interesting places. So it should be good fun. I like the little suitcase put into the nose stowage. I think that's a nice detail. And it's back. Red Bull Air Racing. Now, I absolutely love the colour scheme of this livery. This matches my channel perfectly. We've got the light blue and the pink, but there we go. Red Bull Air Racing, originally from Microsoft Flight Simulator X. A great bit of fun, incredibly difficult, but good fun nonetheless, and something you can practice and get better at without having it take too long. And it can be frustrating, but yeah, exciting nonetheless. That should be good fun. I'm noticing smoke as well, so native support for smoke behind the aircrafts, which I don't know if we've had yet in 2020. I know we have aircraft that have it, but it'd be interesting that we've now got it supported. Unless we already did, I'm not entirely sure actually. Glider pilot missions, always good, and it's interesting to see. This was a big part of the launch of Flight Simulator X to have gliding in it. It was even on, I had the DVD version, so when you installed the DVDs, one of them had a glider on the front of it. I think this would be really good fun if they can introduce some mechanics like having the thermals or the birds to represent thermals like we had in Flight Simulator X. I think that would be really good. I hope we see some of that, and that could be, you could do some cross-country competitions hopping between thermals. I think that could be really great. I think Thermals in the simulator need a bit of visualization because it's quite hard. In the real aircraft, you get the variometer, but you also get a sense in your seat as you get sort of lifted up, which you don't get in sims. So yeah, curious to see. Again, a great way to enjoy the surroundings. Now, look at this, a tornado. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. What a great idea. And I would love to see things like tornadoes and weather phenomena like microbursts come in Microsoft Flight Simulator's normal weather as you're just flying around. But I think a mission with it is a great idea. Reminds me a lot, I don't know if anyone had the old game, it's very old now, on PSP, Pilot Academy, and that had a mission where you would fly around a tornado, although you were doing it in a 747, I think. It wasn't for scientific research, but yeah, very exciting. Not entirely sure how close I'd want to get to a tornado in a twin-engine piston aircraft, but there we go. Perhaps it's what they do, I don't know. And we have a quadcopter drone. What this will be, I don't know. How it will fly, I don't know. Whether I'd ever get in one in real life, I don't know. A10, fantastic. I mean, just how many aircraft have they managed to get into this trailer? It's quite amazing. We're at 1 minute 53 now. Yeah, the A10, what a fantastic machine. And here it is flying through what looks like the Grand Canyon, or certainly a canyon of some variety. Beautiful, beautiful detail. I'm excited to fly this. It's a really good aircraft. I think with its lower speed handling range, it will probably have some quite nice flight dynamics out the box. We shall see. Cirrus Jet. Airship I don't recognise, and hot air balloons. There we go. 2024, coming 2024. Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam, of course. So that is the trailer. Now, I know I've broken it up a bit for you. I should have said first, you should probably watch it on your own before coming here, but there we go. Yeah, these last few bits, it's all crammed in. They sort of go with this flow where it's a bit slower at the start and it builds up to loads going on at the end. But yeah, low altitude training looks great fun. Flying through in formation in A10s, that looks fantastic. Yeah, this is the Cirrus Jet, I believe. Yeah, otherwise known as the Cirrus Vision Jet. So executive transport aircraft, similar to the VIP thing perhaps, but yeah, a very small private jet, the Cirrus Jet, but should be good fun. And again, you can take it to some interesting places. So a lot of new aircraft so far in this trailer is what we're seeing. We've already had the seasons, and the next big new thing really is, yeah, airships and hot air balloons. Hot air balloons. What does that involve? How do you fly them? I don't know. They are obviously not very controlled. In the aviation law, they get the right of way over pretty much everything because they have no controls. So powered aircraft give way to gliders, and gliders give way to hot air balloons. But there we go. So yeah, so hot air balloons, not sure how they are controlled. It'd be interesting to see. Look at the scenery though. Here we are in Africa, and we've got the buffalo herd making their way across the plain. I mean, fantastic. Exactly the sort of thing I'd love to see in Flight Simulator. I loved the safari missions we had in Microsoft Flight Simulator X. Great to see it arrive here. And we can see heavy inspiration from Microsoft Flight Simulator X, although of course there's only so many parts to aviation. There are a lot of them, but it's not surprising to see them sort of relived here. The Sky is calling their tagline, which they've kept, so they're using the same tagline for this one. But yeah, there we go. So, questions that have immediately come out of the community. We weren't really expecting this announcement. We were all expecting Microsoft Flight Simulator to continue its development, the 2020 edition, and grow. And it's taken years for that simulator to mature. It's hard to believe it came out in 2020, but it did. And it's now 3 years old. We still don't have a lot of aircraft for it that we were hoping for. We don't even have a lot of features that we were hoping for. If you remember, Flight Simulator 2020 launched without contrails. It launched without tire smoke on touchdown. We still don't have replays natively supported, and I want native support of replays. I maintain that is a big part of a simulator, but it seems to be a difficult job. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be happening, but all these things, and there was so much more to do with the handling, and in particular the ground handling, where we were trying to get things improved, and Asobo have done that. They have improved the simulator over the time, but it feels like it's really at a really nice point, and it's continuing to improve, and then suddenly we get this announcement. Also, people have invested at this point a lot of money into their Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. People have bought aircraft. We've bought aircraft from Asobo, we've bought aircraft from third parties, and we've put them into our sim. So to hear that it might now be swapping over to a new one that raises a lot of questions. So we had the announcement from Microsoft Flight Simulator themselves yesterday. They made a blog post, and in it they have said that it was a short teaser to introduce Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and they've answered the two big questions that everyone's been asking since this trailer was announced. So the question is, will Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 be a completely standalone sequel, or will it also be offered as a paid update for existing players? And their answer is, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is a standalone simulator and the next generation sequel to Microsoft Flight Simulator that launched in 2020. Current aircraft and airports that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, as well as virtually all marketplace add-ons, will be supported in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So that answers the questions, really. It is standalone. It's not an expansion. It's not a paid upgrade. It is a new simulator. There's no word of discounts and so on if you have 2020. Now, in terms of the add-ons, will they move over? It's not a very committal statement, is it? It says virtually all marketplace add-ons and current aircraft and airports that are in 2020 will be supported. Now, to me, that sounds like default aircraft or a Sobo aircraft, as well as most of the ones that you could pay for later. So the things like the 747-8, the 787 and the A320neo that came with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 are clearly going to be supported in 2024. Then they say that they're marketplace aircraft, so think of things like the Caribou, it says virtually all marketplace add-ons. And I suppose that's talking about airports and scenery as well. Now, does that include third-party ones, or does it mean all? That remains to be seen. So the next question, will all purchases users have made from the marketplace be transferable to the new simulator? And they've said, with very few exceptions, virtually all add-ons that work in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 today will function in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Add-ons that were purchased from the in-simulator marketplace will not need to be repurchased in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So that sounds good. Again, third party, or are they talking only Microsoft and Asobo? We shall see, but I'm hoping it's third party. It's clearly a very similar game engine. They've said it's an upgraded version of the game engine. So hopefully the changes are minimal and therefore support is pretty much carried across. But no guarantees. There's nothing concrete here. Phrases like virtually all and with very few exceptions are causes for concern for certain aircraft. What if that one add-on you really want is the one that doesn't work? We shall find out. Time will tell. It's announced early, so we have time for this to sort of settle in. So, yeah, interesting. I don't personally think it's a problem to me what they've done, and I will explain why. Microsoft Flight Simulator has 2020 edition has come out, and it was not in the state we wanted it to be in when it launched, and they have worked hard, really hard, bringing out not only new content in the world updates, adding scenery and adding missions, all for free. They've also changed the things we asked them to change, and they have listened endlessly through this process to the community. Now, it's taken years, and it would have been nice if it launched a little closer to that point, but even so, all credit to them. At some point, you do have to release your product into the wild, and it's such a complex simulator to have the whole world in it. We can't possibly have expected it to be perfect at launch. Now, some of the aviation-themed things have taken time to improve, but even so, we're at a good stage with it now, and they really have listened. They've provided a remarkable amount of content for free in that time. I'm really endlessly blown away. Let's not forget, we got the Airbus A300 for free. A310 for free, and we got the different missions. We got the F-18. This was paid expansions to Microsoft Flight Simulator X, for example. It's a different world, and games run on different business models now, but it's still impressive to me. That's continued until 2023, so we've had 3 years of that, and now they've announced the new one. I think that's fine. Our concerns about add-ons are clear. And what they've said is not concrete. What will happen to some of your favorite add-ons, it's hard to say. It sounds likely that most add-ons will transfer across. Will the developers, especially if you installed it outside of the simulator, will they expect you to upgrade it or pay for an upgraded version? Or will it be able to just be copied across into a new community folder? That remains to be seen. It sounds like if you've got marketplace aircraft, then things are going to be pretty straightforward in general, and it should just come straight through into new simulator without additional fee. It's what it sounds like. I don't know this. Whereas if you're using add-ons from outside, then it may not always be the case. We shall find out. X-Plane 11 to X-Plane 12, for example, would be the most recent case study of this. And we had aircraft transferring across that were capable of working in X-Plane 11 that just didn't work in 12 until they were updated. That was quite a big simulator change. That quite a lot went on with X-Plane in that time. I don't know if this is the same sort of generational leap. We shall find out. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Next is, what if you don't want to go to Flight Simulator 2024? What if you're happy with 2020? Are they just going to stop supporting it? So they've answered that. They said, what kind of support can Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 players expect to see once Flight Simulator 2024 has been released? And they have said, we will continue to deliver our Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 roadmap, which has content ranging from aircraft and avionics updates, sim updates, city and world updates, and also the free June DLC. We will continue to support Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 post the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 launch. So that's good news, isn't it? That means we've got 2023 and 2024, and hopefully onwards from there, still getting support for 2020. Now that is a big ask, supporting two simulators. But again, if these simulators are similar enough, it may not be as difficult. It could be a case of, well, we've added a replay to one, we can add it to the other sort of thing. It could just be that they have different content or themes and focuses. We shall find out. I don't, to be honest, think that 2024 will be a restricted or smaller version. I think it will be the same size. Now, that's my guess, so I think it's going to be the same thing as 2020. It's going to be the whole world map. You can do the missions and you can do the free flights. I don't think it's going to be a focused-in career sim, as it were. Although that does seem to be where they are selling it at this point. I think we'll have the whole world available to us. But you'll notice from the trailer, although they show all this lovely scenery, all of it is shown in the context of missions. So hot air balloons, VIP, airline. Oh, well, not airline pilot, but what do they call the industrial cargo transport? There we go, for the A330. But it seems to me that, it would be silly to not also have the whole world available if you just wanted to, because someone coming to the sim today would want to just buy 2024. They wouldn't want to buy 2020 and then 2024. But there we go. Of course, available on Xbox Game Pass. So for people on Xbox Game Pass, you're going to have 2020 and then you can just swap over to 24. And then that's where being able to bring over your aircraft from the previous one is good news. So it's a surprise announcement, but I think also it shouldn't be surprising. I think it's caught us off guard because we've treated Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 like a development process, and we don't think it's fully finished yet. But I think it's fair. I think the amount of content they provided for us in 2020 is amazing. I've said this for a while now, but the amount of free content and aircraft they brought to us for the price of one entry ticket to that game back 3 years ago, I think is remarkable. And it has developed into a great simulator. I think if 2024 can start where 2020 is now, then it could be in a good place very quickly, a very good place. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think some of these missions will be a real treat. I really hope they go all in on the missions. I want to hear voice acting. I want to have mission waypoints. I want the whole thing. I want them to be really good fun and really accessible so everyone can get a chance to try all these different parts of aviation. And I'm optimistic about that. They seem to be really, really keen on them. Let's not forget, Microsoft Flight Simulator has traditionally come out on 2-year intervals. We had 98, 2000, 2002, 2004. It is not uncommon to have such a long break after FSX. Was actually a bad thing for the flight simulation industry. We don't want to go back to those days where we get a new simulator once every decade. It's not what we want. This is, I think, for us, a better place to be. It hurts if your add-on doesn't transfer across. I understand that, and some people have invested a lot of money in a lot of sceneries. So let's hope that as many of those come through as possible. And this all remains to be seen, and will also depend on the developers, won't it? What they want to do and how they see it. But it's very early days, but I'm excited to get another simulator. I think if we can keep pushing forwards, we'll get, things will improve, and it's a sign that there is interest and investment in this genre, which is, after all, our genre. This is where we want to fly, and this is the game we want to play, or simulator we want to use. So those are my thoughts on it overall. But I'll be interested to hear what you think. Let me know. Comment in the section. We'll talk about it. Join me on the channel for live streams. I'm going to talk about it on the podcast soon as well. I'm excited. I'm interested. It's a way off yet, but it comes around quickly, as we know. It's hard to believe it's been 3 years since 2020. So, yeah, exciting times. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, but I am hopeful for the future of simulation. And this is not, this is my own thoughts on this, but I've taken some time to digest it. We've heard the announcement and I've thought about it, and comparing it to previous Flight Simulator releases, it seems to me like overall this could be a very good thing. Who doesn't want more Flight Simulator, So there we go. Do please stay tuned to the channel. Like I say, podcasts, live streams coming very soon, and videos, of course, and we'll be doing plenty of coverage on Flight Simulator 2024. So we'll see you again in another video or live stream. Keep safe and well. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.